Elsewhere, some of the biggest names in business and marketing convened at this year's Possible event in Miami. And the chief marketing officer at VaynerX, in fact, told Judy Shaw why the concept of, quote, underpriced attention, end quote, has been a valuable strategy for her company and how it's utilizing it now. Let's take a listen.
I think the concept of underpriced attention has been our currency for the last 16 years of Vayner. The format of underpriced attention continues to evolve, and that's the whole thesis, right? Is that there is always an opportunity to be paying attention to where consumers are spending time and brands are not yet heavily investing. And, you know, when we opened Vayner 15 years ago, maybe that was like Vine and YouTube. And as we've had different inflection points over the years, that might have been Twitter at some points, that might have been TikTok at some points. And where we believe underpriced attention continues to reside right now is on the viral social platforms, the 7 that exist today that are delivering disproportionate organic reach for brands.
Now, Avery, with consumer habits changing so fast, especially in this AI era, how can brands keep up and still drive growth?
I always think about it like the old 80-20 or 90-10, depending on what brand you are, where 80% of it is that you know it drives business results, you know it works, this continues to perform. And then that 10 or 20% that you give for experimentation, for trying something different, for trying something new. And we believe that that's a good formula for success of ensuring that you're always driving business results while you're being ready for the next thing to come on the horizon. And then as you see those scales evolve over time, the things that were in that 10 and 20% bucket end up going to that 80 and 90% bucket. And, you know, with a lot of our longstanding client relationships, 10 years plus, we see a lot of those, you know, innovative channels at one point becoming really the tried and trues.
And what's the secret to building marketing strategies that feel truly personal but still perform?
That is such a great question and a loaded one. I think that the secret to that depends on which brand you are and really how you want to deliver your message, what you're trying to sell. Ultimately, connecting with more consumer segments more often delivers relevancy. We believe relevancy is the biggest elephant in the room for many of our brands. At VaynerX, we focus on Fortune 500 marketers, and they don't really have a brand awareness problem, but they almost always have a relevance problem where people will know the brand name but not be thinking this is for me. So we believe that instead of having one sort of mass message, social platforms deliver us the opportunity to create more customer segments, create messages directly to those customer segments, and enable us to drive a more relevant business result.
And finally, Avery, you helped launch and scale brands. What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners?
I think I'd bucket that into 3 main things. For one, I'll start off with people think paid first, then owned, then earned. Paid, owned, earned is the sort of framework that most people typically think of. At Vayner, we believe starting with your owned channels is the most important place to focus. If you have $1, it should go into your own channels, then get into earned, and then amplify that with paid media. So I think that format needs to be flipped on its head. The second thing I would say if you're launching a brand is to consider investing in your personal brand, investing your time and building up your credibility, and whether that's on video or that's on podcasts or that's in written format with a Substack, I think that is such a key accelerant. And we've seen this be true for so many companies, many of which have now even gone public on the stock exchange. And then the third thing I would say for brands is, for anyone looking to launch a new brand, is to try and to be a practitioner yourself. We hear a lot of people at Possible talking about a lot of things that they've never personally been hands-on about. And I think at Vayner, that's one of our core differentiators is we really are practitioners of the craft that we preach.
All right, thanks again there to VaynerX CMO Avery, Akkineni, and Judy Shaw for that interview in Miami.